Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Here we are on Tuesday night for Learning Live, and we are continuing our feature, if you will, on our favorite things. Last week, Chris gave us a rundown of some of her favorite storage items for storing scraps of paper, organizing them, all of that good stuff. And tonight, we're actually going to cover off not one, not two, but three favorite things from our team. So the first thing we're going to talk about, well, maybe not the first thing we're going to talk about, but the three things I have here are the three favorite things. We've got Distress Oxide, which I think we all know that Chris is a big Distress fan. But what you may not know is that our newest team member, Sue, is also a big Distress Oxide fan. She loves that there are so many techniques and different things that you can do with Distress Oxides that you can create some really beautiful looks. And so that was what when we asked the team what their favorite things are, this is one of the things that Sue talked about. Now tonight I am going to be showing just one aspect. I mean, Distress Oxide inks are, as Sue pointed out, there's lots you can do with it. And Chris has done some great learning lives in the past on Distress Oxides, the differences between oxides and distress inks and all that kind of thing. My personal favorite reason for using Distress Oxides is on darker paper, because it is that hybrid water-based, pigment-based ink. It does work really beautifully on dark paper. I was playing with it even earlier this evening, and it just gives that beautiful almost chalkboard look to it. But I'm going to show you a couple different ways to use oxides on dark paper tonight. The other favorite thing that we've got sitting here, which I think is many of your favorite things or new favorite things, and that is the My Sweet Petunia precision glue press. We literally cannot keep these in stock. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. Really, you can use any liquid glue, but where this precision glue press really comes into play. And it does holster my favorite glue, which is the Nouveau Deluxe glue. And then everything we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be, I'm going to make a treat box. This was kind of my prototype. The one we're going to make tonight will be way prettier. But this was all to focus around one of Matt's favorite things, and that is our new Moose Munchies fudge. We've got these little 6 packs. There's 6 pieces in the pack. Currently, we have salted caramel, maple, and snickerdoodle. I have just placed my reorder. We're going to be getting chocolate, mint chocolate, some more of the salted caramel, and rum butter, I think, is the other flavor that I got. So this is an ideal little stocking stuffer, hostess gift, that kind of thing. And so for tonight's live, I really went out of my way to try and find a little box, a little bag that we can make that will hold our fudge packs and just wrap everything up neatly in a bow. So let's clear the decks. We are going to start by making the little treat bag. Then we're going to be decorating it both sides. And then, we'll see where the time goes. I've got a couple of other tricks up my sleeve if time permits. But knowing me, there won't be time. But anyways, we'll see what we can do. Anyways, I'm going to make sure that I put this off to the side over here, not send it over there where Matt is manning the comments, because I don't want that fudge to disappear, at least until the live is over. I'm going to clear the decks. I'm going to get rid of my inks. So tonight, if you want to craft along with me, you are more than welcome to. I will do my best to keep a good pace. I'm going to be using candied apple, tumbled glass, cracked pistachio, and squeezed lemonade. But by all means, choose whatever colors you have in your stash, whatever colors appeal to you. And let's have some fun. Okay, so glue press, tucked here. Okay. What in the world is what?
On my Facebook, you just went like super duper fast forward.
Oh, it must have glitched a little bit. All right. So once again, I'm going to bring my little prototype out. The pattern that I found, I went to my favorite project place, and that is Pinterest. I found this little template here that's created by someone from Simply Simple Stamping. I unfortunately can't read the name as I printed out. I apologize for that. But we found this on Pinterest, and you can actually make 2 treat bags out of one 12 by 12 piece of paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to score this up and cut it down. Tonight we're only going to make 1 treat bag, but by all means you're going to have the second one ready to go, and it should whip up really, really easily for you. If you follow these directions exactly, it gives you this little cuff, this little collar around the top. But as you can see, my fudge doesn't fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to alter our measurements just a little bit so that we don't have this little top part. You could always decorate. You can add a little band afterwards if you wish. Or if you don't mind that this is sticking out, you could tuck some tissue in there. Then we could talk about that as we get to that measurement, but that's just a little alteration that I'm going to do. We're also going to just attach some ribbon to make some little handles, but just so you know where we're going. And then we're going to decorate both the front and the back to make it look a little bit more festive. So these are my measurements. I'm going to keep them here. I'll bring that Post-it note over in just a second. I am going to bring my scoreboard into play. This is my little template to help me, because we always have to practice. And you know what, if you are crafting long, maybe you don't even necessarily want to do a good copy of this. Grab some paper that maybe you don't like the color of it, or you've got a ton of it, and make your sloppy copy. So that way you've got a template and a prototype with you for when you go to make more. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down so that it is a true 12 by 12. This is Dark Seas. It is a smooth basil cardstock, but of course you can use any cardstock that you want. I would recommend for this that you do use cardstock and not pattern paper. You do want it to have a little bit of oomph to it to hold everything together and make sure that the integrity of your box stands true. So there, I've got that cut down to a 12 by 12. And now I'm going to grab my scoring board. So let's put it in this way. I'm not sure why that's not fitting exactly perfectly, but it will get there when we need it to get there. So in order to make it without the cuff, these are my measurements. I'm going to put it right here on my little sticky mat. Can you guys see that over there? I will read them out as well. Oh, I can try and move it down. There we go. There we go. And I will call these out. I will repeat them and repeat them. What we're going to do is we're going to do these lines first. Then we're going to do the horizontal lines. And actually, it's this score line and this score line we're not going to do. But when what I can do is I can post this as a PDF. I'll load it up to the website and post a link so that you can download it if you want to make it the proper way. All right, so we're going to start. We've got our 12 by 12 in our scoreboard, and we're going to make 4 score lines. Excuse me. Let me read them out, and then I'll read them out again as I'm actually scoring. I can read them out again, and maybe, Matt, if you wanted to type these into the comments, we are going to score at 4 inches. Score at 4 inches. 5 3/4, 9 3/4, and 11. So here we go. I'm going to score at 4 inches all the way, all the way down. And you know what? Sometimes that happens where you jump the tracks. it's all going to work out okay. So that's 4 inches, then 5 3/4, all the way down, then 9 3/4, all the way down, and then 11. Nope, that's wrong. It's 11 1/2. My apologies. Good thing I double checked. Just say correction 11 1/2. Because we're going to have one little tab left over on the edge here. So let me repeat that one more time for you if you are following along. 4 inches, 5 3/4, 9 3/4, 11 1/2. Coolio. Now what we're going to do is we are going to rotate 1/4 turn. Doesn't really matter whether you go to the right or to the left. I'm going to go to the right. And we are going to score at 4 3/4 and 10 3/4. Easy peasy. 4 3/4 and 10 3/4. All right, so 4 3/4 all the way down, and 10 3/4 all the way down. And that's it. That is all the scoring we're going to do. So I can put my scoreboard away. I'm not moving my paper yet. So currently the way I have my paper set is I've got that little 1/2 inch panel at the bottom. Put that down. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer again. And with that 1/2 inch panel at the bottom, I am going to cut it at 6 inches. With the 1/2 inch panel at the bottom, let me come up just a little bit. I don't think my screen is big enough. So the 1/2 inch panel at the bottom, we're going to align our paper at the 6 inch mark, and we're going to cut. If you now take these two pieces and stack them together, all your score lines are going to be lining up. So you've got a 1 1/4 inch panel here. You've got your 1/2 inch panel here, and then you've got obviously the rest of your paper there. Hopefully everybody's following along. Of course, you are more than welcome to go back on replay and take care of all of this as well. We've got 2 now. Tonight we're going to make 1, so keep the other one as your backup. If you make a boo-boo, you can always grab the other one as we go. We're just going to work on the 1. I'm going to grab my white pen just so that you can see what I'm doing next. Just making sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, okay. So bottom corner here, you've got your little 1/2 inch panel. In this bottom corner, you've got a little rectangle like this. We're going to cut that away. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut on these little score lines just with our scissors. So we're going to cut this little piece away, and then we're going to cut up just to that first score line on each of those 3 little panels. You don't have to describe it. That's okay. I just wanted the measurements in the comments in case anyone needed. So this little corner here, snip. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. And then here, just following the score line, snip. Following the score line, snip. And following the score line, snip. These are the bottom panels, so they're all going to get folded away. You don't even have to worry about them being seen. Now, I know some people like to do a bit of a angled cut here just so that it folds a little bit more neatly. That's totally an optional thing. I'm just doing it on the 2 end panels, like so, like so. Pull these little guys out. And this is what your box base should look like right now. You know, just because I'm going to be picky, I want to get rid of those little white pencil or pen marks. Again, it's the bottom. Nobody's really going to see it, but you know, might as well put our best foot forward, right? And I'll just trim up this one as well. Okay. And that is all there is to the mechanics. We're now just going to fold and assemble. So along my fold lines here, I don't know where my bone folders are. That's okay. Just gonna fold along my score lines. No, I think they're still packed from one of our events that we had, so it's all good. This is nice cardstock. It's folding really nicely. And then I'm gonna fold each one of these little guys up as well. Are there any questions so far, Matt, or is everybody?
No.
Maybe they're just busy crafting, which is fun. Okay. So first things first. Over here on the right, I have my little 1/2-inch panel. I'm going to fold it just like so. So it's that end panel plus the 1/2-inch panel. I'm going to grab my score tape. You can use any width that works for you as long as it fits inside that little 1/2-inch panel, like so. And with it folded, so I've got that end panel, the small panel, I'm going to peel my backing and then just ever so gently fold that far left panel over so that it all matches up. And look, our box is starting to form. Now we have our bottom to make. So I'm going to actually fold those horizontal ones out. My little ends are going to go in. This one's going to go in and this one's going to go in, but I'm going to put some tape right on this one here. And here we go. And that is all you need to do to assemble that box. How absolutely easy was that? Okay, let's get that down. And let's test it out. Where did my special box of fudge go? There it is. Perfect. Could not have planned that better if I had tried. So I don't think I'm going to poke the holes yet for the ribbon. Let's get it all decorated up first, and then we can finish it off with our little handles. But that is just as easy and as simple as a fun little box can be. All right, we don't need the measurements anymore. Don't need my template anymore. Once again, I'll just put that up there. We scored at 4, 5 3/4, 9 3/4, 11 1/2. Rotated it, scored at 4 3/4, 10 3/4, and cut it in half at 6. Fold and stick and call it done. So that is our base box. Now, the next step is decorating, and we're going to do some decorating for the one side with a stencil and the Distress Oxide ink pads. And then on the other side, we're going to stamp a sentiment and put that on this side as well. I'm going to show you.
Did you want to do that before you made it off the ground?
Well, I'm going to do it on separate pieces and then glue it onto the box. I'm not. So Matt is correct. If you were going to stencil right onto the bag, excuse me, you would definitely want to do that before you assembled the box. However, I'm going to do it on separate pieces and then stick it down. So the fact that we've made our box, not a big deal. Not a big deal. But you know what? If you'd rather do that, you've got your second one here and ready to go. If you don't like, if you want to do that direction as opposed to the way I've done it. Okay, I am coming into my little bag o' tricks, and I am pulling out some blue cardstock. Now I have gone ahead and I've die cut some red glitter paper. I've got some white paper here. So we're going to do some different things with the Distress Oxide inks. But because I want to show you how beautiful this looks on dark paper, that is where we're going. Okay, so I've got my grip mat. I'm sticking my paper down, and I am going to use a stencil from Concord and Ninth. This is the Cottage Charm stencil pack, and it just creates this really pretty kind of scalloped pattern. I really liked how the little elements in here looked like they were somewhat snowflakey, which I thought was really cute. And it is a 4-layer stencil, which is why I picked 4 colors. Now, one thing I really, really like about the Concord and Ninth stencils is just how thick and sturdy they are. Now, what I may have to do, yeah, I think I'm going to have to cut this down a little bit. Otherwise, my stencil is not going to stick. And I may not do this layer. I may do 2 different colors on this layer and then finish off with these 2 layers. We're gonna modify just a little bit because I want to. Not really any reason. All right, so I'm just gonna cut this right down to the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We are actually going to be die cutting this even smaller, but until we see where the stencil pattern ends up, I want to just have the biggest space possible. So this is Moody Blue, which is probably one of our top selling navy blue cardstocks in 12 by 12. None of these are numbered, so you can do them in any order that you wish. I think, okay, I'm going to start with this layer here. There are little, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it right there. There are little etched corners on here. So I'm going to line that up with my paper. Give it a little press down because now my stencil's not going to move. And I've got a little 4x4 one over here because my grip mat is this size here, but I want a little something extra to put my ink pads on. Let's do this one, and I'm going to start with tumbled glass. So Distress Oxides, as I was saying off the top, are a water-based pigment ink hybrid. That means they're a little bit thicker. They are they have a little bit more of that pigment substance to it. So I find that the foam blenders work better than the blending brushes. The pigment part of the ink tends to gum up the bristly brushes like this, and your bristles are going to stick together. They're going to clump. They're going to be harder to clean. So I prefer to use the foam blenders on my matte sticks or my my Tim Holtz blending tools, whichever you prefer, but the foam I find works quite a bit better. When you are applying the ink and getting this started, you really want to give it a good scrub. Don't be delicate. You can be really vigorous with this and get lots of good coverage on that foam pad because it has that pigment. Again, it's not going to soak into that foam as easily. And then I'm just going to, in a circular motion, try to get into all the nooks and crannies. And with how detailed and small this stencil pattern is, you could even go with the smaller blending tools, the mini ones, if you wished. I just happen to have this one out. All right. And it really doesn't take much. Get in all those little nooks and crannies. Just trying to. Sometimes if you're a little bit too vigorous and you don't have that much of a grip here on the side, it may still wiggle a little bit. Ooh, ah. Let me bring that up a little bit closer. I don't know. Isn't that pretty? So that was the tumble glass. Let's go on to cracked pistachio. Yeah, on this one. Now, interesting. This one just has little etched edges. It doesn't have corners, which I find interesting.
Is it all part of the same set?
It is all part of the same set.
Right.
But as long as you're lining up your edges, everything should line up well. All right, so cracked pistachio. Again, give it a nice vigorous scrub. And I'm just going to start.
I'm assuming you used a new foam head.
I started tonight with a new foam head. Now, I was doing some practicing earlier, which is why they are not clean. Excuse me. Getting in all the nooks and crannies. All right. Lickety split. Ooh, so pretty. Does still give that kind of chalkboardy look, but the colors do come through. And so that was my cracked pistachio. And then this one here. So this one we're back to, we've got corners here, but I'm going to do yellow in the little diamonds and then red in the circles. So this one, it's going to be a 2-for-1. Get these all stuck down. Let's do the yellow first. And I'm going to be careful, try not to get it in. No, because the red is pretty striking. All right. All right. And one more. I mean, I guess the benefit of doing the yellow first is that it is a lighter color. So even if I happen to get yellow where the red is going to go, it's going to cover it up nicely. So, all right, so that's the yellow. And let's do things properly. I'm just going to take my cloth and just clean up a lot of that excess yellow so I don't contaminate the red as much as possible. And I think, as much as I already have a large red ink out, I'm going to switch to a small one just to get into those teeny weeny spots. Whoops, pop goes the foam. And candied apple. Just give it a little scrubby scrub, and then oh, I'm so excited to see what this is gonna look like. And this is one of the reasons why I really like the oxides on dark ink, because it is a huge wow factor. All right, are you ready for the reveal? Do-do-do-do. So even though this isn't necessarily a Christmas stencil, I thought it just looked kind of snowflakey and just really gives that kind of classic look. So we're going to peel this off. I'm going to put this off to the side. And we are going to do some die cutting to cut this panel down to shape. So let me give you a sneak peek of where we're going with this. We're going to make a little panel like this. It is a 2-layer panel that has these beautiful little scallopy edges, and it is from a Pink and Main die set that I absolutely fell in love with, and I thought it was really quite innovative. So what you do is you take your die. There's a small one and a large one. We also have another set that has, these ones are rectangles, the other set has squares, again, a small and a large. And you're going to cut 2 of the exact same die, but then just by rotating the second one, it offsets to create this really fun background. So let's find an ideal spot for this, kind of like that. Everything's in the way of my handle, so I better move it or stuff's gonna go flying. All right, bear with me as I take this off camera, reposition it. Maybe I'll go up a little bit more like that so that we have even more of that red. Okay. Now, one thing to be careful. I don't know if you can see it just like that. Because the Distress Oxide has pigment to it, it does take a little bit longer to dry. So when you go to die cut it, make sure you then take a cloth and wipe your cutting plates, even a little spritz of water. Get that ink off or it will transfer onto your next die cut, which is not at all what we want. If you would like, you are welcome to heat set your oxide just to give it a little bit of drying time, but I don't find it's necessary. Like I'm going like this here and not getting any smudging whatsoever. It's not really transferring. Just know that it will take a little bit, just a little bit longer to dry than a typical water-based ink. All right, so out of here, I'm going to get my little glitter red. So as I said, I cut 2. If you stack them like this, they're exactly the same. What I want to do is take this back one. I'm going to turn it once. I'm going to turn it twice. And then when you layer it, it is ingeniously offset. So you've got the red and the blue working together. So here's where I'm going to pull out the glue press. This is really great if you have trouble squeezing, if you need a little bit of extra help. And look at how nice and detailed and how easy it is to squeeze to get your glue out. And you don't need a lot. Putting it back in the holster. In this holster, there is a little silicone button here that will seal. Looks like my glue is gobbing in there. I'll have to clean that up, but that's no problem. By putting your glue gun right on that little button, you are going to seal it so that it's not going to clog. All right, so let's get this where it needs to go. All right, so it is nice and set and ready to go. It's going to eventually place right here on the one side of our box, but we're going to do one more thing. I think when I set up this live, I said, if you want to have a little extra bling, have some glitter ready as well. So this is where I'm going to use my glue gun. Yep, really.
Last time you played with.
I know, last time I played with glitter, I spilled. But see how precise you can get with this glue gun? I'm just doing a little drop of glue in between. Maybe I'll just do one here. I won't do one at the bottom. And I do not have any computer paper, so I'll just use paper towel. And no, it's okay, Matt. I got it. Yep. And so I'm just going to sprinkle little bits of glitter on top of those glue dots and try to maybe not so well get it back in the jar. But as that dries, we're going to get some nice little sparkly bits, and then I can go back in and flick off the extra. There we go. Right now it looks white because the glue is white. As it dries, it will dry clear, and all that will be left is the shine. So I'm going to set this to dry while we go ahead and do the other side. But see, that's how you use the glue press. You can get really detailed droplets of glue. And I think I need a vacuum. So. Just so I don't end up with it everywhere. Maybe just sort of everywhere.
George to the rescue.
George to the rescue. Excuse me while I take a quick sip of water. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. I can put this away. I am going to grab my other piece of Moody Blue. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to die cut it first so that I know where I want to stamp my sentiment. So let me get this ready. I do have another piece of red. Where am I going to put this? Because I am afraid I'm going to knock it. Okay, it's back here on my coffee maker when I go looking for it.
All right, everybody, it's behind her on the coffee maker.
It's behind me on the coffee maker. Don't let me forget. Okay.
Let's see who remembers.
Let's see if I remember. I think that's the first key. All right. So here we go. We've got our paper. So while we did ink blending, while we did stenciling with the Oxide, the nice thing about Oxide is you can actually stamp with it as well. So let me grab my little Misty. I'm going to tuck this in the corner here. Make sure it's nice and straight. And this set is called Big on Christmas. It is a stamp and die set, also Concord and Night. It is well loved from our craft around a couple of weeks ago. And I think Love and Joy is going to fit absolutely beautifully in there.
You're mixing and matching too many brands here. Are you allowed to do that?
I'm the boss. I'm allowed to do anything. All right. So I'm going to set this in place. Like so, give or take. Take my Misty over. All right, what color? What color? I think when I look at this, I'm going to go with the cracked pistachio. Well, because it's green and because it's green. So just like you would any other ink pad, I am going to ink up my stamp here, get some good coverage. And the reason why I put it in the Misty is so that I can restamp it if I need it. Now, the magnet is there. I am going to add just a teeny bit of tape, simply because these little beveled edges, I don't want it to move. All right, there we go. Get my pressure tool. Now again, this is pigment ink, so it does take a little bit longer to dry. You want to just really give it a second to let that ink soak into the paper. Now I'm going to lift, and it's not bad. It's not perfect, so that's why we did it in the MISTI, so that we can ink it up again. Go over one more time. This stamp has also not been used. I probably should have conditioned it before I stamped, but I didn't. So we're just going with it. I'm going to add one more layer. And if it doesn't look perfect right off the bat, don't worry about it. It will smooth out as it dries. But I kind of don't mind that little
Scaling effect.
The little pooling effect. Gives it some texture. All right, one more time. This will be the last time. There we go. So we've got some good coverage here. Now, you could leave it just like this. But because I'm showing you all the things, here's the other thing you can do with it. Because it is still wet, you can add embossing powder. So I am going to somehow get that up. Let's cover up my lid. I'm actually going to, should have done that before the glitter, but I'm just going to cover that up as well. And my clear embossing powder, just going to do a little sprinkle. Well, that's a lot of sprinkle. Instead of the paper towel, I'm going to do this just so I have a better chance of tapping it back into my container afterwards. But look how nicely that got covered. Get rid of some of this extra, because of course I forgot to powder it as well. All good. It's clear. All right, so put that over there. Put the lid on, no sneezing allowed. Just try to get rid of some of these extra little flecks.
You can blow it all up.
It could, but sometimes it heats and melts it before it blows it. So, all right, please excuse the noise. So now it's come back to that green color that was the cracked pistachio, but it's got that little bit of a shine to it. So just a little different way that you can use that. And that way this is a great way that if you only have clear embossing powder and say you want pink or red or tumbled glass, or you've got your favorite distress ink color, use your oxide ink, use your clear powder, and then you maintain the integrity. What else can I do to this thing? You know what? I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. And we're just going to leave that one. I'm going to grab my other, because I've got some snowflakes cut out, so we can decorate that as well. So much like before, have them the same. Turn it once, turn it twice. It's now offset. Let's I did refill my bottle, but yes, I think it does need a little bit more of a refill. All right, so layer that up. So much fun. Okay, so now what we can do is we can bring this over here. I'm going to put love and joy on the front here. Because of the backing of this glitter paper, I think I'm just going to use score tape just to give it some extra stick. All right. How are we doing, man? Anybody got any questions? Everybody having fun? Is it quiet?
It's quiet. They're either crafting or they fell asleep.
Oh, I hope they didn't fall asleep. Okay, so here's a question for you while I'm getting this put together. Do you tend to be more of a traditional Christmas color person, so red, green, gold? Or do you like non-traditional colors like the blues and the teals and the silvers? Maybe pop that in the comments. All right. Okay, my liquid glue is still a little bit soft. So let's see if I can be careful here. I'm going to put my tape.
She used Nuvo drops.
Yeah, but the Nuvo drops don't go in the glue press.
All right, so we've got traditional, but this you're using pink.
Oh, someone's using pink. That's awesome.
Lean towards traditional, then there's traditional, and then there's non-traditional.
So a little bit more, a few more votes for the traditional over the non-traditional. I guess the beauty of making, if you are someone who makes a lot of cards, you could make a little of this and a little of that. Did I guess right? Woohoo! My tape fits. Okay. Just trying to be strategic here. I'll definitely give that more of a press once that glue dries. So probably I'll wait till the morning. And originally I was going to put the ribbon on the front and the back. I think I'm going to actually just keep it even simpler and put it on the sides. All right, so try to center it, go as far down as I can, pop. Center it as far down as I can, pop. I've got a piece of ribbon. Tie a nice big juicy knot.
Nobody has ribbon in their stash.
Nobody has ribbon. You can tell this one's been on the spool a while. It is very curly. Very curly. All right. Got it down here like this. Might have to double this one to make it a little bit fatter so it doesn't go through my hole. Oh, that didn't work. So I may have to go back and fix my knots afterwards. But there's a nice little handle. But I'm not done yet. All right, where's my fancy fudge? Fancy fudge sits in here. But I feel like I want a little bit more, especially on this side.
Looks great.
Because I like stuff. I like glitter. I like color. So I'm going to bring, I've got a white panel here, and I'm just going to ink blend. So Distress Oxide is fantastic for ink blending. And I'm going to create an area like that. And then let's do cracked pistachio in the center. Now I'm just throwing stuff. All right. There we go. And maybe just go back over it with the yellow just a little bit to smooth out that edge. And finally, last but not least, we're going to do some tumbled glass. All right. Just to bring three of our four colors together. Look how easily that paper ink blended with the oxide. Because it has that pigment, it gives you that little bit more room for movement. And I know I prefer the oxide when I'm ink blending. It's nice and smooth. So what am I going to do with this? I have a Hero Arts snowflake cover plate that I'm going to cut out some snowflakes from our ink blended panel. And folks, the craftastrophe is real. Good thing you can't see what's not on camera. All right. I didn't get it perfectly straight, but it's snowflakes, so it's not too bad. And in reality, oh, look how easily that popped out. I just want the snowflakes. So look at all these multicolored snowflakes that I have. Let's get them all turned over. Before I went live, I did also cut some of these snowflakes out of red glitter foam, some red glitter paper. So now we can add, oh, there's one little one there. And the nice thing about this is I could put this on, say, that piece of black. And look how cool that is. So you get two for the price of one when you use those cover plate goodies. All right. So need to be careful. I don't want to put it down because that's still wet. But let's take this little snowflake here, glue press to the rescue because it's nice and delicate and can get into all the spaces. And let's put a snowflake right here. Let's take that little guy. Yeah, I really should have probably left that glitter one off, but a little bit of glue. Let's do that little snowflake up there. And I think we'll go with this one. Nice medium-sized one. Glue it up. And tuck it right there. So there you go. Lots and lots of good stuff. So that is it for my treat box tonight. I've used Sue's favorite Distress Oxide in my favorite way, which is doing it on dark paper, but I've also shown you can use it on white. We've embossed with it. We've used some pink and main dyes. We've done some glitter. We've used the glue press. Do we want?
No.
Matt says no. So I guess I'll have to save these red glitter for the other one because I do have another box. So glue press, Distress Oxide, perfect for fudge. And you know what? If fudge is not your thing, we also have Belly Belly, which will also fit nicely in our treat box. So there you have it, folks. That is Learning Live for tonight. Hopefully it gives you some fun ideas on decorating little gifty items, you know, for the mailman. Well, maybe not the mailman because he's on strike. You may not see him right now. But maybe the guy at Tim Hortons, or, you know, great way to bribe the UPS driver. If you need teacher gifts, if you need gifts for church, super easy. And you could have, I mean, I could keep going. I've already been, Matt's going to cut me off, but you know, I could keep going all night just playing and decorating and having fun with these. And I hope you do too. So thank you very much, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and wishing you all a wonderful rest of your week. If you make one of these guys, make sure you post it in the Papercrafts Inner Circle or email us so that we can see what you've been playing with. Have a good night, everyone.